Hello, everybody. Hello, my name is Rohan. I am a medical student, year 2 medical student at Ross University School of Medicine, which is a medical school located in the West Indies island of Barbados. I'm so lucky that I get to spend my medical school experience here, and I've learned a lot about myself, about school, about life, and I hope to share some of that with you today. In this video, I'm going to be talking about probably the most important tip that I have learned about managing your time and studying effectively. And I will say that number one tip is to study with your phone. I was just searching for my phone, but I'm actually using my phone to record this video right now. But what I want to say is using your phone to study is perhaps the sleeper method, the sleeper build method of studying that I found out. It really did change everything the way I studied. For a long time, I knew that I could study on my phone and it would be really great. But only once I started combining and compounding habits with each other, including studying, exercise, walking, going to and from places while I'm in a bus or in a car, it really revolutionized the way I study. And I hope to teach you how to do that. But in order to start doing that, I'm going to say what I think is the number one most important thing and method to do this. I will say is probably going to be Anki flashcards. Any sort of flashcard system you can use on your phone. I would say Anki is for med school the best. I know Quizlet has an app. I believe it has an app. It has an app about flashcards and methods you can use to write your own flashcards and use them on your phone. I say Quizlet would be fantastic. I want to say TikTok. People say TikTok is destroying a generation. Well, I think it could be building a generation. I think TikTok could be a fantastic way to study. If you search up the hashtag filter, let's say you're studying World War II. I always use this example, but let's say you're studying World War II in high school right now. You could look up hashtag World War II TikTok, and then boom, it'll give you a bunch of TikToks, short videos about World War II that you can use to study. Now, I'm not saying this should be your go-to method of studying. Obviously, that's not the case. I don't believe it would be the best way to study by just watching TikToks. But when you really feel tired and burnt out, you feel like you really don't want to study, TikTok should be a fantastic way to study on your phone using flashcards. I also want to say that I think podcasts could be a phenomenal method of studying if you want to study long amounts of information or long study times or long blocks of information at once. There's so many educational podcasts out there. I personally don't listen to a lot of them, but I know so many friends who do here in medical school. I'm not a big podcast person. I like to read and really highlight and interact with my stuff. Or I like to do Anki flashcards on my laptop. That's how I study on my phone, really. But I know podcasts are a phenomenal way. I personally use podcasts to study Spanish. I don't do it every day, but every once in a while I'll boot up a Spanish podcast and I'll have my Google Translate out and I'll try to listen. It will be beginner friendly because I'm not fluent in Spanish or anything, but I am trying to learn. And I will have like a Spanish podcast going, and I have Google Translate up on my laptop or my phone. And as they say stuff, I'll put down the word. I'm like, I don't know what this word means, and boom, it'll tell me what it means, and that's a great way for me to really get that information get that information out there, in my brain. So those are the methods I have to study. I have for your phone to study. I want to take you guys back to when I was in high school and early college. I was not a studier. I did not grind in the books. I definitely did not. I consider myself lazy back then. I was always on my phone playing video games. Or it's funny because I say phone is the great way to study now. I used to use that phone with so much negative bad habits, and that's something I'll elaborate in this video in a second. But I used to be always on my phone playing video games or staying up late, watching YouTube videos on bullcrap that I really should be watching, stuff like that, stuff that's not helpful for you. But I used to do that, and I still, every once in a while I'll still watch a YouTube video, or I'll still I don't really play video games anymore, but I'll still use my phone for non educational or non-productive ways. But I really have been cutting that down since I'm in medical school. And in medical school, you really have to be on top of your stuff. You really have to be to be on your game, because if you're not, at least in the school I'm in at Ross University, it's very difficult. Ross University is a very difficult school. I don't know if you've heard that before, but it's not an easy school. I'm not saying medical school is easy in general, but Ross University, from my experience, it's very difficult. It's very hard. Only a fraction of our classes made it to the semester that I'm in right now without failing, and there's still half the curriculum to go. There's still a lot of hard modules, a lot of hard subjects to coming up, including neuroscience or neuroscience, neuroanatomy. Those are considered the hardest modules at the school, and that's second to last. That's the last semester, so I'll be looking forward to that. But I was never much of a studier, man. I never did. I was always lazy. But at the end of college, I really suffered. Suffered. I really experienced something that kind of changed the way that I viewed studying, the way I viewed school, the way I viewed life. I'm not gonna elaborate too much in this video because it's a little personal. I might share it one day, but not now. Um, but it really did change how I saw things, and I ever since that day I studied. It was hard at first. You have to build up to it. You can't just study 8 hours a day straight, like right out, like just because you want to. You can't just do that. But I really had to build up to it, and I did. Over time, I really did build up to it, and now I can study all day, really effectively, really learning things, and really trying to master material, and it's great. But I guess the reason I'm telling you guys this is because I feel that no matter where you are in life, no matter who is trying to put you down, or no matter what thing you're going through, you can always bounce back. I believe you will bounce back. You can always bounce back. You just have to believe in yourself enough to do it. But that brings, I guess, to my final point. How do you do it? How do you bounce back? How do you put in the hours? How do you become productive? I'll say the most important thing is to cut out all distractions and negativity. You might think to yourself that a lot of these distractions are what's keeping you sane, but in reality, that's what's holding you back. Um, in a lot of ways, distractions can be good in the sense that distracting yourself by talking to people, or distracting yourself by going to the gym, I wouldn't even call that distractions, to be honest. I would say that's transmutation. I would say that's a way to use your energy for good. Going to the gym, talking to people, going on a date, studying, anything. All these ways are good ways to use your energy. But not a good way is just scrolling on TikTok for hours. And I did say to use TikTok earlier in this video, but I don't mean scrolling for hours and hours, doom scrolling. What I mean is targeted TikTok usage. And it's difficult to do that because we're all human. We go on our phone, we open up an app, we do a little bit, we look at some World War II videos, and then we think, oh, let me just scroll for two videos. 2 videos, boom, that's it. And then you 2 more, and then 2 more. I remember I used to say, oh, I'll look at 10 more reels, bang, 10 more reels, and I'll go to bed. And then I would end up doing that for hours, and I would just not be going to bed because you wouldn't want to end on a bad video. You'd want to end on a really good video. You want to be like, ooh, I want to wait till I see a really funny video, then I'll end. And that's kind of how it goes, That's kind of how it goes. But it's just one step at a time, one step at a time. I did not get here overnight. I did not make it to pulmonology and nephrology overnight. Right now, that's what I'm studying. It's really interesting for me. We have an exam in the upcoming days, but I did not get here overnight. I had to really put in work and put in hours to get here. And I know you can do it. Anyone can do it. If I can do it, anyone can do it. I know people say that. It's a little cliche, but I really do believe it. I really do believe that anyone can make it. Anyone can become something and make something of themselves. I believe you can do it. I want to leave you with some physical, not physical, but some like piece of advice I think you could really use. I think developing a morning routine and sticking to it and not checking your phone, not scrolling, not going on YouTube or anything, even studying, not doing anything until you finish your morning routine, and then only studying, or then only going on your phone. I think that's the best way to do it, because it stops you from going in that cycle of waking up and scrolling for hours and just wasting so much time. I really do feel like that's a great way to keep your productivity high, keep your hopes high, keep your motivation high, instead of it all getting sapped by Instagram or by TikTok or by other things that could really be a detriment to your own productivity. I want to recommend you guys a book that I read a year or 2 years ago. It's called Atomic Habits by James Clear, I believe. And he talks a lot about compounding habits, how you do one habit and it ends up leading to another, and then you do them together, and then it reinforces the habit, and it just becomes like it just builds and builds and builds. It becomes a compound of good for you. I think that that is an excellent piece of advice, an excellent way to use both morning routines and studying and exercise and sleep, everything. I still do this, but I haven't done it the past couple of days, but I still do go to the gym, and I go on the treadmill, and I will do my Anki cars as I'm walking on the treadmill for maybe an hour, 2 hours. That's how I get done a lot of my Anki cards. And I feel like it's been an incredible instrument to my success so far. I felt a huge difference in my understanding of the material. People also say that exercise boosts memory. So that could be something that you take from this video as well. If maybe next time you go to the gym, or if you don't even go to the gym, just maybe go on a walk, a short brisk walk outside, and bring your phone with you. And instead of listening to music or instead of listening to some podcast, well, you could listen to a podcast if it's educational. But instead of listening to music, you bring out your phone, do Anki cards, and or Quizlet cards if you're in high school, because I didn't have Anki in high school, but Quizlet flashcards in high school, or you listen to some podcast, an educational podcast or something that's pertaining to school, and boom, you really learn it. I know there's this app called Notebook LM that's really popular here at Ross. I only use it a couple times. I didn't like it that much. Like I said, I don't like podcasts as much to study. Maybe I'll start using it more in the future because it's something interesting, but it essentially uses AI to make you a podcast based on the lecture materials you upload. So let's say you have a slide deck, PowerPoint presentation that you upload to Notebook LM. It will make you a podcast based on the slide deck where it's like two AI people talking, and they're saying like, ooh, blah, blah, blah. And like, oh yeah, that's interesting, blah, 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 blah. And they're like, oh yeah, this, it becomes like if you're a really big podcast person, I can see that being really, really helpful for you. I can see you really enjoying that. So I want to leave this video off by saying that, I think that no goal is too big to accomplish. You just have to set small mini goals to achieve the goal. I think anyone watching this video can do it. I've made other videos on how to study effectively. Another video on how to study effectively. I'll link it at the end of this video. But I believe that you can accomplish whatever you want to set your mind to. I believe you can. If I can do it, you can do it. Thank you for watching. My name is Rohan. Remember to stay calm, cool, and collected at all times. And I will catch you in a later video. Thank you for watching. Peace out.